Thanks for choosing us. Tonight, the minority in Parliament is rejecting claims that the former NPP administration approved or issued the controversial teacher's manual containing a disputed definition of gender as tension deepens between the minority and the National Council of Curriculum and Assessment over who should take responsibility, really, for the withdrawal of that material and the publication of that material, which, by the way, has been withdrawn. The Member of Parliament for Old Tafo, Vincent Ekwasefo, addressing the press earlier, indicated that the situation warrants religious bodies and civil society organizations to take a key interest in it and also review all existing curriculum materials. The following report has more.
The minority in Parliament has clashed with the National Council for Curriculum and Assessment over responsibility for a controversial gender definition contained in the now withdrawn SHS2 Physical Education Teacher's Manual. NACA was forced to recall the manual after public backlash over content suggesting gender extends beyond the binary definitions of male and female. Backed by some civil society groups, the minority has called for a full-scale probe and is demanding the immediate dismissal of the NACA Director General. Speaking on JoyNews PM Express yesterday, Director General for the National Council for Curriculum and Assessment, Professor Samuel Ofori Obuobisa, indicated that the draft manual in circulation was issued in 2024, adding that investigations have identified the individual responsible for inserting the disputed definition.
Actually, I cannot stay offhand because I wasn't there at that time. But if you pick any of the manuals,
I mean, because this manual, I think, if I'm not wrong, I think you explained that this manual must have been drafted.
Yes.
Oh, so this manual with the definition that has become controversial was drafted in 2024.
Exactly. In fact, 2025, nothing. I have never survived the writing of any manual.
But the minority is rejecting NACA's claims, insisting the then NPP administration bears no responsibility for the manuals or curriculum materials issued during that period. Vincent Ekwasefo is ranking member on Parliament's Youth and Sports Committee.
And I have the 2024 manual here. When we are done, we will share that with the media. Crucially, the core manual did not introduce identity-based sexuality frameworks. There was no introduction of sexual identity in the 2024 manual. Nothing of the sort. There was no introduction of a gender expression. Nothing of the sort. Sexual right was not also mentioned anywhere in the 2024 manual.
The minority is also calling for an independent review of all existing curriculum materials.
The minority is also demanding a transparent and inclusive review of all affected teaching and learning materials involving Parliament, religious bodies, traditional authorities, parents, civil society organizations, education experts, and teacher unions. 3, the dismissal of the Director General of NACA and the chairperson of NACA board for failure of oversight and breach of public trust.
With blame being traded and investigations underway, pressure is mounting on education authorities to restore public confidence in the curriculum review process with greater transparency, accountability, and stakeholder involvement in the development of teaching materials.
Meanwhile, the Minister for Education, Haruna Iddrisu, has directed teachers and education stakeholders to adhere strictly to the binary definition of sex, which is male and female, reiterating the government's position that sex must be defined solely on biological grounds. He made this clarification during a training session in Tamale on the Ghanaian Youth Handbook and the rollout of the guidance and counseling framework, stressing that there should be no ambiguity on the definition of sex within Ghana's education curriculum. Martina Bugri has more in the following report.
The clarification by the Education Minister, Haruna Iddrisu, comes after controversies surrounding the Physical Education and Health Manual for secondary schools rolled out in 2024-2025. The minister tasked NACA to address the issue, saying that it is time the definition is clear without ambiguities.
There should be no ambiguity whatsoever regarding the definition of a man as in a man, a woman as in a woman as in biological sex. And sex means biological sex. Reference to man, woman sex means reference to the biological sex and the sex of the person at birth. Settled. So in every educational literature, a Ghana must reflect it. So there should be no ambiguity whatsoever in the definition of a man, a woman, and sex. For our purposes, the sex of the person at birth holds. That depicts and reflects Ghanaian values and our laws.
Away from that, let's shift our attention now to the transport sector. The Ghana Private Road Transport Union has distanced itself from calls by one of its executives, David Aguado, for the removal of the Transport Minister, Joseph Bukari Nipe, over claims of poor management of the transport sector, resulting in the recent traffic situation across the capital. However, speaking on the pulse on the Joy News channel, the spokesperson for GPRTU, Baatsonaa, said the union has not collectively taken any decision to call for the removal of the minister. Fatau Bayaga has more in the following report.
The transportation challenges here in Accra have now reached very alarming levels, with many commuters struggling every single day to get vehicles to travel to their various destinations, particularly in the morning and then in the evening. Some of the commuters say that some drivers are riding on this to charge unapproved fares, and this is taking a serious toll on their daily lives.
Very difficult, because coming from Ablekuma, already you don't get a car and you stay in traffic for like 2 hours. And then you get here on a normal day, there's a very long queue here. You stay in a queue for about 30 minutes at least before you get a car and you get to work. So roughly you spend about 3-4 hours before you get to work every day.
Oh, I've been here about 30 minutes now, and we are waiting for a vehicle, but as at now, there's no vehicle here and we are stranded.
This current situation is really disturbing. We have to continuously deal with some drivers charging unapproved fares after every short distance, thereby draining our finances every day.
For some members of the GPRTU, particularly David Aguado, he says that the Transport Minister, Joseph Bukari Nipe, has proven to be incompetent in managing this transport crisis, and for that reason, he must be removed from office.
The government has to sit up and analyze the situation and let us all solve it amicably. But if I will say something right now, I will say the Minister of Transport is supposed not to be at post again.
You want the minister sacked?
That is what I'm saying.
The transport minister must go.
The transport minister must go. The reason why the transport minister must go is this. He is not performing. He is not performing in his ministry.
However, speaking on the polls, the spokesperson for the GPRTU, Baatsonaa, said the union has not collectively taken any decision to call for the removal of the minister.
I say we've never spoken about the transport minister. We have had a lot from last year up to today. We have never spoken against the transport minister. Neither have I or has Amwa spoken against him. We've never.
And for many commuters, for government to drastically address this particular situation, more buses must be deployed to the various routes in order to contain the current crisis. For Joy News, Fatau Bayaga, Accra.
Well, let's go live to Circle here in Accra, where my colleague Gemma Pian is checking up on the traffic situation for some updates. Gemma, which side of Circle are you at right now, and what can you report?
So we are live at Circle, just beneath the overhead, and when you come to Circle, you realize that there are a lot of people, a number of commuters lined up along the various pavements, all looking for vehicles to board to their various destinations. Some few minutes ago, there were commuters rushing into the vehicles that were coming in, and some of them tell me that they have been here for a very long time to get a car to Ashaman or Pokuase or Kaswa. They are all here trying to get that opportunity to get into the car and move to their various destinations. One of the commuters have been here for some time now, and he joins me now. Thank you so much. This is Joy News. How long have you been here, standing here looking for a car?
1 hour to 1.5 hours now. I'm looking for a car, but I'm not getting up my vehicle to my destination.
Where are you going to?
I'm going to Amasaman.
Amasaman? Is that the case every time, or today is different?
No. Today is different since long. And the drivers on this route have been using that as a yardstick to charge us more, a fee higher than what the government expected them to even take.
How much did you used to pay?
It should be from here to Amasaman should be 7 cities, at times 6 cities, but they have been taking 10 cities and over from us.
So this morning when you were coming to work or wherever, how much did you pay coming?
They went coming in the morning, although today I came late, so I got the 7 cities one. They took me 7 cities to Cycle.
Did you struggle to get a vehicle?
Yeah, it was not, the vehicle wasn't easy for me to get in. I have to struggle before get the vehicle up there.
And what time did you close from work? And
around 5 o'clock from Vodafone. Telesa, I close, yeah.
And it's 7 o'clock, you haven't gotten a car?
Up to now, I'm still here looking for a car. And I'm not getting a car. So at least it will be very good since I meet you people, the media men. It's good, at least the government have to export more buses so that at least to apply a route like this for we those who are becoming, everyone becoming for far distance. Something like from Insawam, Amasamai, we get a car here. Then quickly we get home, we rest before the next day. I think that it will also help us a lot.
So you're saying you don't get time to rest enough?
No. At times before I get home, when I get to when I get to Amasama, I have to pick another car again to satellite. You understand? At times you will not get the satellite car straight. You have to get to Amasama before you get another car.
Right. So you can see now that some of the trotro have come and people are rushing in just so that they can get a seat. People are running to these trotro vehicles just to get a seat in the trotro, and it doesn't take the trotro time for it to get full because the people are here in their numbers, and that's the situation here. We just spoke to one of the commuters who told us that it has taken him more than 1 hour just standing here looking for a vehicle to board at Circle, one of the busiest places in Accra and where vehicles are supposed to be in abundance. But the situation is that they are finding it difficult to get the cars, and even when they get the cars, they are paying huge sums of money or more than what they are supposed to pay because the vehicles are not a lot in the system. Let me speak to some of them who have been here, some of the commuters who have been here for a while. Thank you so much for joining us on Joy News.
Excuse me.
Yes. How long have you been standing here?
Well, I've been here for some few minutes now. Yeah. Well, just some few minutes. I just came here.
Where are you going to?
I'm going to La Paz.
So a lot of commuters were complaining in the morning that they struggled to get vehicles. Was that the same situation for you?
Yeah, that is the situation we are in at the moment. And then it's not only in the morning. Like right now, you can see the situation. Cars are scarce and they are overpricing and all that. Some even charge bit by bit. They take you instead of the direct. If you are going from here to La Paz, they charge 10 cedis, but the normal fare is supposed to be 5.5. You see, but they are now charging 10 cedis, which it shouldn't be. When you pick from La Paz to Ablekuma, they will tell you they are going to Awoshi, so they will charge you Awoshi fare. But when you get to Awoshi, then they said they are going towards Ablekuma, so you have to now pay another fare. That is if you are actually going there. So these are the situations we are in now.
Well, thank you so much, Gemma. Well, join us now on Zoom is Samuel Amoah, is a member of the GPRTU communications team, specifically the Deputy PRO. We appreciate your time here on JoyNews Prime. We've just been on the ground. We can see clearly that the traffic situation, as we know it, is still rife in town. Is GPRTU going to provide some vehicles from tomorrow, at least more of them, to ease the congestion?
Thank you very much for having me on your show. Let me say good evening to you and whoever is watching this program live. Yes, as you said, all these things that are happening, we are not, happy experiencing these challenges on our roads, because our goal is that we will be, getting enough vehicles to transport our passengers. But unfortunately, quite recently, we see what is happening now. But it's not like we have some vehicles somewhere that are not coming to work, or maybe as the communication minister, said, like as if, we have some vehicles somewhere and we have decided not to bring those vehicles to come and pick the passengers. No, it's not like that. But it's just that most of the vehicles are being in the workshops. Some are, having some engine problems and all that. Today, we went round to, most of the stations to check why all these things are coming up. So we are trying as hard as we can. Those vehicles that sometimes, get stuck in traffic and all that, we are trying as hard as we can to make sure that, commuters will get vehicles to their destination. But, during the rush hour, definitely some of these things, we'll see some of these things. But hopefully, we are having a meeting with the minister tomorrow. We have so many concerns that we want to raise for the government to also come in to support, because this business we run is individuals that has, some has gone in for bank loans with high interest, and some too, there are some small monies that they have gathered that they are used to buy.
So what are your demands from the minister tomorrow when you meet him?
Yeah, one of our demands is that we want the government to assist the private transport sector by assisting us with some more vehicles, because it's individual vehicles that we use to run the transport. We don't have any support, or we don't get any support from the government, and it's one of the things we are going to talk. Although we have placed this request, before His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, and looking at how the situation is, it calls for more action, and these are one of the things we are going to talk about.
Thank you so much. Samuel Amoah is a member of the communications team for GPRTU. We appreciate your time here on JoyNews Prime. Let's head now to Kumasi, where commercial drivers say the situation is different, pointing to challenges like traffic, road condition, and maintenance costs that affect how many buses can operate at a time. Passengers, however, are frustrated and are calling on government to step in and ensure smoother transport services.
The government has accused some transport operators of creating artificial shortages in order to push up fares despite recent fare reductions. Here in Kumasi, is the situation the same? And what do drivers have to say about this? And how is this also impacting passengers? What is going to be done about it to relieve commuters from this daily struggle?
But
I don't agree with them. Loading short distances takes time and passengers complain. We don't support what they are doing. The government should direct the police to arrest those doing that so they can stop. We always fight with them. There is traffic in town because the roads are bad. There are cars too that don't park well. We at the station can't bring all our buses because we predict the number of passengers who will come. As long as they all leave before we do. Sometimes people are tired to work and some cars can get damaged. So it will be difficult for all drivers to come to town. Maintenance cost is expensive. The government should simply intervene.
Citizens, we are suffering too much in this nation.
So they should pity us and have mercy upon us because we are all Ghanaians. If the government can provide buses for the citizens, I think everything will become normal for us. Yeah.
Drivers here in Kumasi have debunked the claims that they are deliberately creating shortages to push up fares. But passengers are also calling on the government to do something and come in on their behalf in order to ease their burden. For Joy News, Erabna Akwe, Kumasi.
Away from that, let's head now to the central region. They are forced to endure the dust and drive on roads riddled with potholes. That's the reality for drivers and residents of Dawa, Kojoku, Iminda, and other nearby communities in Gomoa in the Gomoa East constituency of the central region. In our continuing feature series, Roads of Peril, my colleague Pel Ofori speaks to residents and motorists in these communities and reports on the impact of the deteriorating road network on their lives.
In Gomoa, dust has become a defining feature of daily life. Drivers move very slowly on the road, carefully steering around deep potholes to avoid damage to their vehicles. The constant wear and tear has made repairs a daily necessity, and many say the cost eats into nearly all of their income, making it difficult to support their families or meet basic needs.
Yeah, Juma 5 years in here. I can't the Biamisha shops are Obaco about to Tonoma Santi, Aquania Seremo, Munkan Champion for no money, Quine, my name, so I want to because Kabi and Yabi and Smith and Shire, ya bless Ubanyaska shop, dear Seremo, Munkan Champion for no money, Quine, my
from Kef linked to Millennium Junction, from Kef linked to Gomoa Fete, from Kef linked to baby called Dawa. Oh, now no people are living that okay construction board no crowd or womb. Besinde ye hu he. Aye kra no medium license na somewhere 87. My drive up to now. On a medal share maybe up to now. I'm still driving. And it's a top part 1 city. At least order only meet be 1 week. But because of the nature of road, move top part 1 city. When you be just 1 day.
This busy stretch, which connects Kaswa to Nyenyano and other nearby communities like Dawa, Kojoku, and Memenda, is riddled with potholes and eroded patches, forcing vehicles to slow down and drive with extreme caution.
Yeah, the best the Abanembe 8 good years ni ana honorable Desmond okay there obe boyen na kwan wa ye kwan amen na onwi ni wie no ye friend na o se ono ye kwan nti ye besle aban amfutru na hayen edidifo wontu men ye hwe
so that's ne high pa because of amfutru no edwa no pass na ye ba yentohwe because of obi background no better do say hwa amfutru o wa na amfutru ushatalmpo na ba enche na hwa efin some style.
Drivers plying this route, traders selling their wares here, and residents alike want the poor road network fixed to make daily commute a little easier. For JoyNews, I am Pel Ofori.
Well, thankfully, I have the DC for Gomoa East join us here on JoyNews Prime. Nana Akum, we appreciate your time. What are you doing to fix this challenge on the assembly level?
Thank you so much, my dear sister. Let me use this opportunity to send my Happy New Year message to your cherished viewers and listeners as well. With the issue of Millennium City Road to Nyenyano inside, as we are speaking, we have released the drip machine. With the support and help of my MP, we are fixing the road for them very soon. That's
timeline. would help, when exactly will it be fixed?
So as I'm speaking to you now, we are doing the reshaping. We are using the drip machine to do the road shaping for them. Afterwards, we are in line with the highways authorities, working hand in hand that the place will be carved very soon. And then from Nyanyano Curve to Kojoku inside too, after the road shaping at Millennium City to Nyanyano Township, we will fix that place too for them very soon. So rest assured, very soon we will make sure things will work perfectly for our people. Yeah.
But Nana, you agree very soon is not a timeline?
I know that. I don't want a situation whereby I'll give you tomorrow or today, a situation, and then you find out yourself or asking me again, Mommy, so today, tomorrow, that you said it has not been done. Since I'm working with the authorities from above, I cannot stand here today or this evening to tell you tomorrow or today or 3 days. That's why I'm giving you the assurance that very soon things will be done for them. I was there just 3 days ago. I went there to meet the Nananum for 1 or 2 discussions. So me, myself, I've witnessed it, and I know the situation they are in. So if I said very soon, I know what I'm saying. So definitely we are going to fix it for our people.
Thank you so much, Margaret Nana Akum. She is GC for Gomoa East. You're still watching JoyNews Prime. Stay with us. We'll be back after this quick turn. Thanks for staying with us. To other stories now, some communities across Ghana continue to grapple with severe water challenges, disrupting daily life and livelihoods. At Baatsonaa East, along the Spintex Road in Accra, residents say enduring water scarcity for more than a year has taken a heavy toll, particularly worsening household finances as they struggle to secure water for basic needs. There's more in the following report.
Life in Baatsonaa East has become a daily search for water. With regular supply disrupted, residents now depend on water tankers to meet basic household needs. Peter drives a water tanker in the area. He says the ongoing shortage has pushed up the cost of a 6,000-litre tanker, even as access to water remains uncertain.
For now, you won't get water. There's no water. It's almost about, since for last, there's no water. So as for this one, you won't get.
So how much do you charge for this?
This one, I'm charging 900 Ghana cedis.
Before the water shortage situation, how much were you charging for this?
Before the water is around, this one you are charging 700.
700 cedis, and now it's 900 cedis.
No water. Before we get water, it's not easy.
For residents, the situation has been frustrating and exhausting. Doris, who has lived in Baatsonaa East for several years, says the back and forth between residents and authorities has yielded no results.
Being a resident here, I went to Ghana Water Company. They are just close here, and asked why the water was not flowing. And they told me they had a problem with their pump, so it will be fixed. We waited for so many months. The water comes sometimes in the night, and you have to come and sit in the mosquitoes in the night, hoping that you get water. You don't get water. The water is still not flowing. Then they tell you, oh, go to Tema. Go and see the engineer there. Why should I go and see engineer over there? More than a year and a half. And we still don't have water. And when you call the tankers to bring water, they tell you, they say we shouldn't supply water. Who says you shouldn't supply? Ghana Water says we shouldn't supply water. So if you don't supply water and you're not opening my tap, it's like what you.
The president of the Baatsonaa East Residents Association is particularly worried about children, the elderly, and persons living with disabilities, and is calling for urgent intervention.
Nothing has come, and we still have to contend with all these problems. We have children coming over with skin rashes and all that. People keep coming to me. They are disadvantaged people, they are poor people who are in the area. They cannot afford the water. You know, you've seen the rates. Yeah. So it is really a big issue for us, and we have to find every other means to be able to have it resolved.
Nothing, the same is the same. Water has not run through our pipes to our tanks here. It's the same old story. So if they are saying something, then I don't know where that improvement is happening.
Until a lasting solution is provided, families fear the financial strain and health risks linked to the water crisis will only deepen.
Well, joining us on Zoom now is Stanley Martes, Communications Manager at the Ghana Water Company Limited. We appreciate your time here on JoyNews Prime. What's the situation as we speak? You say you're working to remedy the situation, but we can hear clearly from residents frustrated. What's the situation as we speak?
Okay, thank you very much for having me. With our colleagues in Bono East, we have identified their problem. Even water to the area was a bit of a challenge, even prior to the shutting down of the desalination plant. So we have identified what the problems are. We cannot do much now until we put the plant back into operation. So we'll ask them to bear with us, and just like the population or the populace living within the Teshinunwa, Baatsonaa, Chado, and surrounding communities to bear with the situation whilst we try to resolve the challenge with the desal plant.
But how long will they have to bear with you?
It is not like water doesn't flow at all, but the pressures are low. Okay, so you heard the lady say that sometimes it comes at night. It comes at night when like people are no longer fetching, and then the pressures are able to build up. So we are working to improve on the pressures within the community, and then they can have water. Now, as I speak, we all know the challenge with the desalination plant. So it becomes very difficult for me to give timelines as to when it's going to end. But whatever is happening, we expect that the community or the population shall bear with the Ghana Water Company Limited, whilst we do everything possible to ensure that we solve the challenges and water gets into their homes.
But at least for individuals watching tonight, they want some assurances. Like, how long do you think the process would take to fix the problem from where you sit?
Now, we have stated that the challenges with the desal plants are in two folds. One, maintenance, and then one legal. Like I keep saying, when it comes to maintenance, as engineers, we'll be able to give timelines and we'll go by it. Okay, we'll either finish ahead of schedule or maybe on schedule. All right. But when it comes to legal issues, we are unable to tell the exact time. And that is why I'm reluctant to talk about timelines. But we have identified the challenges. It is not just about Baatsonaa alone, but there are several other communities that are challenged in the same vein. So we expect that they bear with us whilst we try to solve the problem. We have three sources for producing water into Accra: Wejakpong, and then the desalination plant. Even with all three working to its maximum capacity, we are still unable to meet the demand. There's still a gap between demand and the volumes that we can supply.
Okay.
So you can imagine if the desal is off. And that is why the government is doing everything possible to ensure that we put the desal back into operation. At least that will ameliorate the situation. And then we'll work hard at expanding both treatment plants, that's Weja and Bong, so we can get more water into the system.
Thank you so much for your time here on JoyNews Prime. Well, away from that, minority spokesperson on the Foreign Affairs Committee and MP for Damango, Samuel Abujinapo, has chastised the Foreign Affairs Minister Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa after the U.S. froze processing of immigrant visas for 75 countries, including Ghana. Samuel Abujinapo says the Foreign Affairs Minister must put the interest of Ghana first in taking positions in international relations after Ghana condemned the U.S. capture of Venezuelan president. Speaking in an exclusive interview with JoyNews, Samuel Abujinapo urged the government to engage in constructive dialogue to remove Ghana from the list of banned countries.
It matters vis-a-vis the broader bilateral relationship between Ghana and the United States. And I want to conclude on that point by just cautioning, even whilst we are restraining ourselves into getting into details and coming to conclusions, that the foreign policy posturing of the government is one that I believe the government should take a second look at. And I give you two examples. Yes. The first one is the whole Middle East conflict and how the government is postured publicly. I think, and I've made this public, I've said it publicly many times, that measured diplomacy always gives better results rather than flamboyant and machoism, if you want.
The government says if an elephant has its foot on the tail of a mouse or of any small animal, and you claim to be diplomatic about it, then you're taking the side of the oppressor. That is why some of the Kujita Black and President Mahama says they have to be very frontal in taking a position.
Yeah, but every foreign policy must ultimately inure to the national interest, to the benefit of the country. The efficacy of any foreign policy anywhere in the world is whether or not it impacts positively on the national development goals of the country or the national interest of the country. So if you go out there and you are engaged in unbridled, unrestrained commentary on geopolitical issues, and in the end, it affects your country and affects the national interest of your country, you haven't prosecuted an effective foreign policy. I mean, take, for example, Venezuela and President, the arrest or capture or whatever of President, yes, and the posture of Ghana's government. And if you take the statement issued by the African Union, for example, and you put it side by side the statement issued by the foreign ministry of our country, whoa, what a difference. You will find that the African Union one was well nuanced, was very diplomatic and was measured. The Ghana one, at best, will be seen as a belligerent statement, a hot-headed statement. And these posturing, these kinds of posturing, they have implications.
Meanwhile, as the NPP's presidential primaries enter home stretch, Samuel Abujinapo, who is a leading member of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's campaign team, says the NPP will be making a serious mistake if it chooses anyone other than Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia as its presidential candidate ahead of the 2024 election.
Lead the NPP. And I've said it, and I want to repeat it. I think if you look at the contestants, and I know each one of them personally, I have respect for each one of them. And if you look at the times and the circumstances and all the factors, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia stands tall. And I think if we are poised and determined to win 2028 in particular, the candidate we should put forward should be Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Because 2028 is going to be a very crucial election. President Mahama will not be on the ballot box. The NDC will present a fresh candidate. And therefore, the issues on the table are going to be extraordinary. They are going to be novel. They are going to be new issues that we have to deal with in 2028. And first, having marketed Dr. Bawumia in the manner that we've marketed him, since 2008. He's been at the forefront of Ghanaian politics for almost 2 decades. He's been vice presidential candidate on 4 occasions. He's been a presidential candidate in the last election. And so he's a well-marketed, known commodity. So I believe that if we present him in 2028, our chances are brighter. Not just that. Marketing is one thing. Secondly, he has a lot of experience. He's been on the campaign trail all these years. He's been a presidential candidate before. You cannot discount that. That means he has enormous experience. Thirdly, I believe that if you take Dr. Bawumia, look, a lot has been said about him. A lot of his opponents is gone after him, as is expected, chastised him, criticized him, and all of that. But what has never been said of Dr. Bawumia, or what has never been questioned of Dr. Mahmoud, is his integrity. And I think integrity in politics is absolutely important. And the challenge is out there. Not even on one occasion has he even been accused of an act which compromises his personal integrity. For 2 decades in public life, from the time he was deputy governor all through to vice presidential candidate, to becoming vice president for 8 years and becoming presidential candidate, his record is unblemished when it comes to incorruptibility and when it comes to integrity.
NDC Chairman Johnson Esedio Nketiah's tour of gratitude across the Bono East region quickly shifted from celebration to sober appeals as traditional leaders in Atebubu, Yeji and Prang seized the moment to highlight urgent unmet needs, from acute water shortages to dilapidated roads, testing the balance between political thanks and public expectations. And Asabit has more.
From Kajiji to Kwame Danso, Atebubu to Yeji and finally Prime. Day one of this tour was a marathon of gratitude. But in the courtyards of the chiefs and in the town squares, the message from the people was clear. We stood with you, now stand with us.
Regional Minister, okay, now I
the concerns were specific and widespread. Atibubu and Prime appealed for potable water. Yeji pleaded for better roads to move goods and people. The asks were a direct reminder of the social contract between the voted for and the voters. Emmanuel Buam is the Member of Parliament for Pro East.
When we assumed office, we have been able to solve these armed robbery issues. As I speak to you, there's always a 24-hour surveillance on our road. Unfortunately for us, the road network is yet to be tackled, and this is much more of the concerns of our people.
Inti asamu edika ye nti a me bai en se ye bedamase. Ye tosu mienu so eye se abato campaign no akwa se apam ye bai ye gina bibi so na ne mo bekasa ye. Ena mo so mo ti ase. Nti yesere vote no. Mo so mo ni da bibi so se de ye ka se ye beye no. Mo de mo vote no maya yeso ye beye.